is that he's not afraid to admit that he's human. And, you know, one of the moments that made me smile so much was he walks in and he looks like he hasn't slept in a week, and he's like, oh, all four of my kids are sick. And I respect that so much. Because how can you tell me to take care of myself and if you're not doing it yourself? And the first thing to acknowledge is that life can be difficult sometimes. And yeah, so, and the best doctor that I have for my eating disorder is one that doesn't understand this at all. I mean, he's a man. He was born in Egypt, so they appreciate a fuller body there. And he does not understand it. And he will point out to me over and over again, point blank, that I'm being retarded about what I'm crying about or what I'm upset about. And then I need to get real. You know, if I'm crying over salad dressing, he'll tell me, you get over it and find something else better to be upset about. Frankly, he's right. And that helps me a lot. And I'm open to the idea that it works the other way for some people too, where people are really, really nurturing, and but I'm open to any way that works, and this one does for me. And I got another comment about, you know, people come here for support, and they're dealing with an eating disorder or eating disordered thoughts, and how dare you bring them down? And I'm like, oh my God. What is, come hither and help me, come hither and I'll help you nurture your eating disorder, about the title, Tips for Anorexia Mania, worst advice ever. Like, clearly a brain malnutrition thing again. I'll be scratching my head a long time about that one too. I had another person who's like, would you make fun of someone who had cancer? I'm like, well, no, I would not make fun of someone who's 4 years old and has a brain tumor and is completely beyond their control. Absolutely not. That would be cruel and horrible and unusual and just downright bad. But if someone went into, surgery to have a lung removed after smoking for most of their life, and they wake up in recovery, and like 10 seconds after they get the oxygen off, they're asking for their first cigarette, I might just, because it's retarded. It's stupid, and it's like, yeah. You know what's going to happen. You've been told it's going to happen. You know from personal experience it's going to happen. And you still go do it anyway. Frankly, yeah, that's stupid. And making fun of it, you kind of deserve it, if that's what you're gonna do. Yeah, I don't get people, but whatever. And then, the last comment that kind of really threw me off a little bit, just because it was really, really mean and cold-spirited and bitchy. But it amused me a lot. Was the one that someone said that I was too ugly to put my face on YouTube. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, clearly you have nothing better to do. This is the hair and makeup guru, if any of you are interested. Okay, anyway, so I was actually thinking, this is getting to me, so I went to the grocery store, and I was actually thinking about asking for a paper bag from the cashier dude, and I was considering actually wearing it. I still wasn't. I was actually going to ask for a paper bag to, put her face on it and smash it, but I thought that might be a little bit catty, and I don't want to be that kind of person anymore. But yeah, I kind of threw off the poor 17-year-old, who was obviously not talked to a girl who's 20 in like months, years. Anyway, so I felt kind of bad for him, and I forgot about the paper bag. Anyway, so seriously though, she probably did me a favor. I realized that while she was commenting with 60 characters about my ugliness, I was on a medical team volunteering at a race for our troops in Afghanistan. It was run in support for our troops in Afghanistan. I watched injured soldiers, and I shook hands with them and congratulated them. I helped people who were struggling physically after a half marathon and throwing up and cramping up. I helped put them in less distress, like physically. That is so much more worthwhile than 60 characters of really bad insults. And I mean, the fact that I went and spent 6 hours to be vomited on, to be sweated on, to walk people out while they were cramped up. The fact I did that on a Sunday afternoon for fun and spent 6 hours doing it makes me a good person. The fact that the general, or the chief staff officer for the Canadian forces, who, by the way, has a lot of security around him in this day and age, the fact that I stepped on him, which makes his security people very, very very upset, and turned around and apologized profusely and asked him not to hurt me. And the fact that he smiled and he's not supposed to smile, that makes me a good person. The fact that in 10 seconds, by my mannerism, by who I am, he could judge that I'm not a threat, that makes me a good person. The fact that someone ran across the finish line and kissed her son's picture that she had on her t-shirt, pinned, that she lost, and that brought me to tears, that makes me a good person. The fact that in spite of everything that the Canadian military has taken from me, including a lot of time, my dad's presence, my mom's presence, my childhood, in a bit, indirectly, the fact that I can still go out and rally behind my troops because I believe in what they believe in. I believe that we stand for something as a country. That makes me a good person, and that makes me a beautiful person. I don't care if I need a paper bag for my head. I don't care if I need 3 more bags for the impossibly ugly heads I may grow any moment, according to this individual. If each one of those impossibly ugly heads can look in the mirror and know that they deserve to live that day, that they did something worthwhile that day, they were a good person that day, and that makes them a beautiful person inside, which in turn will eventually illuminate their beauty on the outside, that makes me not only a good person, it makes me a really beautiful person. And if you're thinking, even for a second, along the same lines as me, that makes you a beautiful person too. And in terms of YouTube comments, keep them coming, because they amuse me a great deal. Yeah, they kind of get to me, because I'm sad that the world is a place like that, but If you get it off your shoulders with me, it doesn't hurt someone else, I'm okay with that. Because I'm not only a good person, I'm a beautiful person. And doing what I did yesterday, instead of losing weight, instead of bringing someone down, instead of hurting myself, makes me pretty gosh darn beautiful. And I've never said that before. And maybe one day I'll see it on the outside. Peace out, guys.